Good morning, sir.
Good morning,
A
guys.
welcome to all of you, and a warm welcome to the 12th session of our esteemed webinar series 24 in 2024, a series by Whiteboard Education and Research Foundation in association with Deltron Technology. It's an absolute pleasure to have you all join us by today as we continue our journey of bridging the gap between corporate and education. Once again, we are back with our enriching session, and this is your host, Dipanshi. So, sorry for the camera. I don't know why it's not working. So, sorry for that. Starting a new venture is an exciting journey, but one of the biggest hurdle is securing the right fund to bring your ideas to life. Today, we are here to demystify the various funding avenue available for early stage startup. In this session, we'll explore different funding sources. Our expert speaker will share their insight and experience, providing you with valuable knowledge and practical tips to navigate the funding landscape. Today, we have the privilege of hearing from an esteemed leader in the healthcare technology industry, Dr. Varun Garg, with us. Dr. Garg is not only a consultant oral surgeon but also the CEO and co founder of DocPlex, a pioneering company dedicating to enhancing patient care through innovative technological solutions. Under his leadership, DocPlex had made significant stride in making healthcare more accessible and efficient for everyone. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Dr. Varun Garg. Before we start, I would like to tell to the audience their mics are muted, so if anyone is having any query or question, they can ask in the chat box. In the last 15 minutes, we'll be having a Q&A session where your questions will be answered. Now, the virtual stage is all yours, sir.
Thank you so much, Dipanshi, for the introduction. It's my pleasure joining the webinar and addressing to the young entrepreneurs. So, thank you once again, Dipanshi, and thank you, Whiteboard. A very good morning to all of you. Thank you for taking out the time on this Saturday morning and listening to me. My name is Dr. Varun Garg. I am co-founder and CEO of DocPlex. DocPlex is a health tech startup where we are digitizing health records in India. We are official partners of Government of India under ABDM, where we are digitizing the health records. So, the topic for today webinar is funding options for the startups. I would not bore you guys with a conventional slide and everything. Here, I am present with you to share my practical experiences, the challenges, the hurdles, difficulties that we faced during our fundraise. And I'm going to share that with you and would love if we make this complete session interactive one. Would request the audience if they can switch on their cameras as well. So I'll first start with my journey. We started DocPlex in the year to 2021. Now, the major challenge for any entrepreneur or a startup is to first identify the problems. Here, I would like to tell you one important point in fundraising. The fundraise, the pitch deck, and everything is directly proportional to what you are doing. There was a kind of a bubble in 2020s and 2021, which has now been broken. Today, investors, VCs, and everybody who are investing in any startup or in any business, they are looking for numbers, and numbers, not merely the number of downloads or traction and so on, but the actual numbers, the revenue numbers. So these two words you have to understand and must keep in mind. Today, as a startup, in raising the funds, you have many options. You have angel funds, family offices, VCs, early stage VCs, late stage VC, growth stage VCs, social impact VCs, so on and so on. So you have to first identify which type of investors you actually want to bring in. So I will break down this complete journey in small parts. If you have not raised any kind of fund so far and you have just started your business, first is to establish what you want to do. Um, First, identify the problem, what you're trying to solve, bring in the most simplest solution of that particular problem, write it down on the paper, write it out down on the whiteboard, and actually everything which you have done, the problem, the solution, and everything actually goes into your pitch deck. If your product is not ready, first work on that. If you have little bit of traction, then you start your funding journey. The funding journey basically starts from the seed round, or some might call it friends and family round. Usually you need to take care of the valuation of the company, so on and so on. My sincere advice, for any entrepreneur who wants to raise fund and has not raised fund as of now, they must establish one mentor for them who can guide them actually about their business, how to raise fund, the valuation, so on. I'm not suggesting that you must directly connect with the investment banker, but a mentorship must always be there. जब आप फंड रेज करते हैं, द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज टू प्रिपेयर अ पिच डेक. Now, the pitch deck is basically, in essence, the soul of what you are trying to do. I have few pointers which I want to share with you. कि आप लोग how you should make a pitch deck. A pitch deck should be a very simple document. You have to understand, you are not giving any exam. You're not taking any exam like the IIT entrance or a medical exam or a IAS exam. You are actually convincing the investor to invest in your business. For that, actually, the message should be clearly communicated with the investor. That is the major point. In making the pitch deck, you must understand your pitch deck should not be more than 10 to 15 slides. The initial of the first two slides of the pitch deck should introduce the founding team, the founders, and the business. Now, the third slide must be the problem statement. Now, the problem statement slide should be very clear in what problem you are solving. You all must understand the problem that you are trying to solve should also be real. Because if the problem that you're trying to solve is cooked up, you will definitely lose the interest of the investor. Your pitch deck should be designed in such a manner that the attention of the investor keeps intact while the investor is reading your pitch deck. And the reason why I'm saying that is, you will not only be showing the pitch deck to the investor, but you'll also be explaining the pitch deck to the investors once you reach the pitch demo or demo day of your investment or a fundraise. So the pitch deck and your words should correlate. If the problem is not real, the investor will lose its attention or interest, and the investor will definitely not going to invest in your business. Now, telling the problem is also an art. The problem should be explained in that particular slide in a very simple format. For an example, there is a problem. It should clearly define in one single sentence what the actual problem is. And also, the problem, you should also mention the impact that the problem is actually causing in the society. For an example, the social impact, the economic impact, and all the other various aspects of the impact that the particular problem is solving. Now the another slide, the fourth slide after the problem statement should be the solution. Here, I would like to draw all of your attention toward one important thing. If you're trying to solve a particular problem, try to make the solution as simple as possible. The most complex and the most difficult problems sometimes have the most simplest solutions. And if your product, your solution has that particular simplicity, it will be very easy for you to reflect into the pitch deck. Immediately after the problem statement, you must come to the solution slide. And the solution slide should be so simple that even while reading the solution, the investor must only from reading, not by just listening to you, should understand what is your solution. After the solution, you must address a slide with the market size. Now, the market size should also be identified, and the source, you must take the sources from verifiable sources. For example, you are taking the data, the market size, TAM, SOM, SAM, from the, try to take it from the government data. And by doing that, you are trying to convince to the investor that, see, this is such a big market, this is the addressable market, and this is the attainable market that I can do. In the solution, I forgot to mention one thing. You must not forget to mention the USP of your solution, how you are different from the other players, how you are trying to make the change in the society or in the business through your particular solution. Now, coming back to the market size, once you have identified the market size in very clear terms and in only 3 to 4 words, just mention the market size, the attainable market, and the addressable market. Coming to the sixth slide, you must mention the competitor analysis. You must also, as an entrepreneur, identify the competitors that are present not only in the local area, but at the national level and at the global level, if your plans are to expand into the global market as well. Doing a proper competition analysis actually gives the idea to the investor how different your startup is. Now, coming back to the seventh slide. In the seventh slide, you must mention you must mention about the traction, the stage of your business, where you are at, like a seed stage, or you are at MVP stage, or you have started seeing the early traction, so on and so on. In the next slide, a mention of financials should be present. I am not saying that you must mention the complete MIS in the pitch deck, but in the pitch deck, a clear financial statement should be there. For an example, in a particular financial year, what was your revenue? What was your profit margins? What was your net revenue? What is your EBITDA level? And you must also project in future that by raising this fund, where will you achieve? Where will you reach? For an example, you are raising 1 crore of rupees. By raising 1 crore rupees, you must mention by raising this amount what revenue numbers, what EBITDA level, what net margin levels you will achieve in next 12 months. So the timeline should also be mentioned into that system. Now, the other slide, you can also mention the numbers like your traction, your current traction, your projected traction. You must differentiate two very clear points, the revenue and the numbers, which should be mentioned not in a complex format, but in a very simple format like net revenue, margins, EBITDA, your app downloads, current status, and the projected status. You must also mention by raising this fund where you are likely to invest these funds into. So your final slide must be about the amount that you are currently raising and for how long you are raising. For example, you are raising 1 crore of rupees for a duration of 12 months sprint. So you must clearly mention that this amount is for this particular duration. And you must also break down that 1 crore of funding where you will investing in it. Like 50% of the ask amount would be invested in expansion, the rest 20% would be invested in the operations, tech development, 10% in miscellaneous, and so on. The message should be very clear to the investor that their money is being utilized and will be utilized properly, and a value addition will be done in terms of both in numbers, in revenue numbers, and in traction numbers as well. And there you must end your slide, because what happens is if you make a very long, very elaborate slide, investors actually lose the interest. The pitch deck should also not be so small that it does not give the clear message. So basic templates are actually available in the market. You can download it from Google, and you can easily get how you should make the pitch deck. Now coming to my experience in raising the funds. First, as I told you, you must identify what problem you are solving and in which sector you are in. The reason why I'm saying that is there are different investors in the market who are sector agnostic. There are investors in the market who deploy their funds in a particular segment, and in that segment also, there are investors in the market who are not looking for revenue growth. They are more of a social impact investor. So, a very important point for all of you is to first identify which kind of investors you actually want in your cap table. And the reason why I'm saying that is once you raise the funds from the investors, they actually come into your cap table. You must bring in only those types of investors which help you to grow, which help you to take your business to the next level, to heights. The investors should not be like who are holding you back. You must avoid those kinds of investors. So identifying the investors is also very important for any kind of entrepreneur. Usually, the market has classified fundings into seed, Series A, pre-Series A, Series B. We have at Docflix not raised a lot of amount, but till today we have raised approximately $1.5 million. We do have a VC on our cap table, but I must tell you, you must be very careful in choosing your investors and what type of investors you bring into your cap table. So my advice to all of you is, uh, yes, Alok, I'll come to that point. So my advice to the entrepreneurs is first start making the list of investors whom you want to approach. Start keep on regularly updating the list, investor list, that you have prepared. Now second thing is, there are many ways of approaching the investors. The first and the most conventional way of approaching the investors is investment banker. Usually, investment banker charges 3 to 5% of the total fundraise as the success fee. Sometimes they do. They also charge equity in your company. But in the initial stages, I do not advise anybody to go for the investment bankers. Today, in fact, you get a lot of investor list present in the market from the Google. You can do it. How I did it was I made a page on LinkedIn. I started approaching various investors over LinkedIn. I started exploring various VC websites. I used to go to the VC websites. For the initial stages, I feel that angel platforms, many angel platforms like Inflection Point Ventures are there, Agility is there, Hem Angels are there. So for the initial stages, identify various angel platforms, start submitting your pitch, and from there you can take your investment. Usually in the angel platforms, what happens is you prepare a pitch, you pitch to the platform, and then there is a community call where many investors come, you pitch to them, and the due diligence is done, and then the funding comes in. The VCs usually come in at a later stages. Now, VCs are also two types of VCs. VCs are early stage VCs and growth stage VCs. So here also you have to identify whether your company is at early stages or at growth stages. So if you are at early stage and connecting with a growth stage VC, then it won't be of any help to you in raising the funds. So first of all, identify the problem, identify the solution, and bring in a mentor who can guide you in all this journey. Second thing is, it is a continuous journey. Fundraise is a continuous journey. You do not learn the art of fundraise in a single day. You yourself commit mistakes, do these mistakes, and then you understand the real thing, and then you learn how you can raise the funds. Now, the third most important point, once your pitch deck is prepared, share it with your close friends or some neutral person and ask them whether they are able to understand the problem or the business that you are having. If they are not able to understand the problem and your business, then you need to work on your pitch deck again. Now, second thing, once you are done with your pitch deck, start preparing your pitch verbally. Start pitching it to your friends, family, your partners, and so on, and get feedback from them. There can be positive feedback also, there can be negative feedback also, and incorporate all these feedbacks into your pitch. What it will do is it will help you in streamlining your pitch in a better way. And then one thing what you can do is, for the starters, you start approaching the angel platforms or the angel investors. Keep a regular tab that you are emailing them, messaging them on a regular basis. If you got a rejection from a VC firm, always make it a point that you drop a mail to them and ask them, why did you reject my startup? So that you get a feedback, and the next time you don't commit the same mistake again. Also, it happens that sometimes VC tell you that currently your startup is too early for us, or it is too early for us. Then that particular lead is actually not dead for you. Keep that in mind. What you can do is, we do it in our company is, we have prepared a report card on a monthly basis, where we update all the progress that we have made in the whole month. And it's a very small creator, like a report card, and you send it on a regular basis, on a monthly basis, to all the investors. What happens is, it keeps the investors updated about the progress. Maybe today the investor has rejected you in your current round, but that particular investor might be helpful or might come in your future rounds. So keeping in touch with all the investors is very, very important. For this, my tip is, be very active on LinkedIn. Keep updating about yourself and your company on the LinkedIn, because what happens is, on the LinkedIn or on other social media platforms, actually, the investors, the analysts, they keep on, tracking you upon their progress, if at all they are interested. So, my sincere advice is, before going to the funding, first identify the problem that you are trying to solve and identify the solution. And post that, if you genuinely need funding, you think that by being bootstrapped your business cannot grow, then think as if you are putting in your money, because that money which investor is giving you is also a hard-earned money of the investors. You actually need to convince the investor that your hard-earned money will be deployed in such a startup or a company or in a business where 3 years or 5 years down the line there will be a return of your investment. So you have to make the investor understand. Be very passionate while you are giving your pitch to the investors and so on. And one important point which I missed, which I have seen lately, is you must also include exit options for the investors in your pitch deck. The exit options can be secondary purchases of the share. The exit options can be IPO. Exit options can be many. But uh, uh, informing the incoming investors about the exit options has also now become very important these days. So thank you so much, guys. And I think it's better that we have a proper Q&A session where I can take up the questions of the participants and uh, yeah, so Alok has asked me, sir, how do founders determine the right amount of seed funding they need? Uh, See, Alok, for this, you have to be a little creative and visionary in what you are doing. How do you decide the amount of funding that you need is आपने first आपने एक प्रॉब्लम को आइडेंटिफाई करा उसका सोल्यूशन बनाया आज की डेट में अगर आप योर सोल्यूशन इज रेडी विद यू you have to imagine कि in next 6 months or 12 months you first of all you have to plan your business in such a manner or you have to prepare your sheets and everything in such a manner that you have planned for next 1 year 3 years and 5 years. Okay, for an example, you are raising funds for 12 months. You have to identify where do you want to take your business in next 12 months. अब उस नेक्स्ट 12 मंथ्स में सपोज करिए आप जनवरी में फंड रेज कर रहे हैं और दिसंबर में आपको अपना स्टार्टअप को कहाँ लेके जाना है, तो दिसंबर तक आपका स्टार्टअप कहाँ पहुंच गया होगा, उसके लिए क्या क्या रिसोर्सेज चाहिए, आपको सबसे पहले वो लिखना पड़ेगा अपने पेपर पेन पे। आपको क्या ह्यूमन रिसोर्स चाहिए टेक डेवलपमेंट के लिए, अगर कोई डेवलपर चाहिए, आपको डिजिटल मार्केटिंग में कितना स्पेंड करना है, आपके कंप्लायंसेस में आपको कितना स्पेंड करना है, आपकी खुद की सैलरी कितनी होनी है, ये सारी चीजों को पहले आपको नोट डाउन करना पड़ेगा। आपको पूरा एक बिजनेस प्लान बनाना पड़ेगा और जब आप वो बिजनेस प्लान बनाएंगे उससे जो नंबर्स निकल के आएंगे आपको नंबर्स को क्रंच करना पड़ेगा। And when the numbers come down, then you decide that this much amount of money you need. One thing also is very important कि current round में हम इतना amount raise कर रहे हैं for next 12 months. मेरा 3 साल का विजन ये है कि मैं यहाँ पे पहुंच जाऊं, तो उस चीज को भी आपको करंट फंड आस्क में जोड़ना पड़ेगा। अगर मैं इसको एकदम सिंपल फॉर्म में ब्रेक डाउन कर दूं, आपके स्टार्टअप में दो फाउंडर्स हैं जिनकी सैलरी 1 1 लाख ईच है, आपके सेल्स एग्जीक्यूटिव 3 हैं और उन तीनों एग्जीक्यूटिव्स की सैलरी 50,000 ईच है, तो मोटा मोटा आपकी जो सैलरी हो गई है वो अभी तक 3.5 हो गया है। आप हर महीने डिजिटल मार्केटिंग में एक सर्टेन लेवल पे रीच करना चाहते हैं, डिजिटल मार्केटिंग में आप 1 लाख रुपीज का स्पेंड करना चाहते हैं। इफ यू हैव एनी ऑफिस स्पेस और अदर एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एक्सपेंसेस, तो आप उसको भी इनकॉर्पोरेट करेंगे और आपको लगता है कि शायद लगभग 50,000 में मेरा ऑफिस स्पेस और सारी चीजों का खर्चा आ जाएगा। फिर आप एटलीस्ट 10% ये भी चाहोगे कि 10% आप बफर अमाउंट में रखो कि कभी कोई प्रॉब्लम आ जाती है, कुछ आ जाता है। 50,000 आप और जोड़ो कि 50,000 रुपीज आपके कंप्लायंसेस और इन सारी कॉस्ट में चले जाते हैं। तो मोटा मोटा अगर मैं मान के चलूं तो लगभग 5 से 6 लाख रुपए का 6 लाख रुपीज का आपका खर्चा है हर महीने का। सिंपल सी बात है, आप 12 महीने में अपने 12 महीने में आप अपने स्टार्टअप को एक सर्टेन लेवल पे लेके जाना चाहते हो, उस लेवल पे पहुंचने के लिए हर महीने आपको 6 लाख रुपए इन्वेस्ट करना पड़ रहा है, बर्न करना पड़ रहा है। तो 6 into 12, simply it's 72 lakh rupees that you need for your funding. That's how you decide. अब उसको डिसाइड करने के लिए मैंने आपको बहुत सिंपली बताया, बट इसका एक पूरा MIS एंड प्रोजेक्शंस बनाना पड़ता है। इसमें you can take help of a CA, you can take help of a financial guy who can help you in doing all of those things. One more thing, आलोक, जो आपको याद रखना है, an entrepreneur should not be too greedy. Reason I am telling you this is, आपने सोचा कि you are raising 72 lakhs, market is right, investor मेरे में believe कर रहे हैं, I should raise 1 to 1.5 crores. बट एट द सेम टाइम यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, आप जितना रेज करोगे इक्विटी भी आपको अपनी कैप टेबल पे इन्वेस्टर को देनी पड़ेगी, और जितनी ज्यादा इक्विटी आप स्टार्टिंग के राउंड्स में इन्वेस्टर्स को दे दोगे, आपके लिए फ्यूचर राउंड्स रेस करना, लाइक सीरीज ए, सीरीज बी, सीरीज सी रेस करना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगा। एक थंब रूल है, सीरीज ए तक आपको अगर पहुंचना है तो 75% ऑफ द इक्विटी शुड बी विद द फाउंडर्स। सीरीज बी तक अगर आपको रेज करना है तो 65% ऑफ द इक्विटी शुड बी विद द फाउंडर्स। इसका भी एक रीजन है, बिकॉज इन्वेस्टर्स कंफर्टेबल नहीं होते हैं अगर फाउंडर्स के पास ही इक्विटी कम हो गई। इन्वेस्टर्स ज्यादा ट्रस्ट उन पे दिखाते हैं जहां पे फाउंडर्स के पास इक्विटी बची हुई है। नाउ द सेकंड क्वेश्चन इज फ्रॉम Tanya. Uh, how can startup prepare for a pitch to a venture capital firm? See, आपको मैं बता रहा हूँ, there is a misconception in the market that today I want to have a startup, let's go to a VC. VCs are a very different kind of breed. You have to understand that sometimes you get a VC which help your business to grow. Sometimes there are VCs who puts in a lot of checks and balances in your company, which sometimes hinders you to grow. First, explore some angel platforms or angel investors and then jump to VCs. Now, how to prepare a pitch? Pitch का मैंने आपको बताया, it's very simple. The first 2 to 3 slides should be your team, founding team, and about your company. The second slide should be a clear cut, your problem statement. Your third slide should be of solution. Your fourth slide should be of market size. Your fifth slide should be your competition analysis. You can also include a sixth slide where you are putting in the impact your solution will create in the society. Your last slide should be the amount of fund that you are raising. बस यही एक सिंपल सा परफॉर्मा है और कुछ अलग नहीं है। बट जो भी नंबर्स आप दे रहे हो आप उसको जस्टिफाई कर सको। अगर आपने अपनी कैलकुलेशन, अपनी मैथमेटिक्स कि नेक्स्ट 12 मंथ्स में हमें कितना रेस करना है, कितना बर्न होगा, नेट बर्न कितना होगा, आपका मार्जिन कितना होगा, आपका रेवेन्यू कितना होगा, ये सब आपने क्लियरली डिफाइन कर लिया है और उसको अपनी पिच डेक में इनकॉर्पोरेट करा है। इट डज नॉट मैटर कि कितना ब्यूटिफाई करके आपने पिच डेक को बनाया है, इन्वेस्टर को आइडिया मिल जाएगा एंड ही विल इन्वेस्ट इन योर कंपनी। So beautification of the pitch deck is not important. What important is that numbers clearly mentioned. Uh, Divyanshu has asked what type of government grants and loans are available for startup. What are parameters for startups to avail these loans? First of all, Divyanshu, if you're doing any business, planning to start any business, first you register your company with MCA, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Register yourself in Startup India. There are many schemes of the Government of India where you can actually avail tax concessions, income tax concessions, and so on. Then in various colleges of India, like government colleges, engineering colleges, or IIMs, there are various incubation centers. There you can apply and get incubation as well. In fact, many ministries and departments today, like if you are in healthcare, Ministry of Health also incubates various startups. If you are a minister doing something in IT sector, then Ministry of IT also incubates certain startups. So these are the grants and loans which come up and which get updated on a regular basis by the government. So you can apply to these platforms. So Ankit has asked, sir, can you please help me with crowdfunding? Like, how does it work and what are the platforms available for it? So Ankit, this is the thing which I was telling you about the angel platforms. Angel platforms are, if you'll search in the Google, you'll get many angel platforms. Today in India, we have many angel platforms like Chennai Angels, Chandigarh Angels, Mumbai Angels, PAD, Inflection Point Ventures, Hem Angels, and so on. इनका एक सीधा सिंपल सा प्रोसेस होता है। आप अपनी पिच डेक बनाते हो, आप इन प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे अप्लाई करते हो, उसके बाद एक प्रिलिमिनरी कॉल होती है, जो भी प्लेटफॉर्म है वो आपके साथ करता है, आपके बिजनेस को अंडरस्टैंड करता है, और अगर उस प्लेटफॉर्म को आपका बिजनेस समझ में आ रहा है तो वो आपका मैंडेट लेता है। फिर जब वो आपका मैंडेट लेता है कि वो आपको इतना फंड रेज कराएगा, तो फिर वो एक कम्युनिटी कॉल कराता है। वो जो कम्युनिटी कॉल होती है उसी को ही बेसिकली क्राउड फंडिंग कहते हैं। होता क्या है, इन एंजल प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे बहुत सारे एंजल इन्वेस्टर्स या हाई नेट वर्थ इंडिविजुअल्स ये इन प्लेटफॉर्म से जुड़े हुए होते हैं, और ये प्लेटफॉर्म्स एक मीडिएटर का काम करते हैं जहां पे वो इन्वेस्टर्स और एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को कनेक्ट करते हैं। तो एक क्राउड फंडिंग की कॉल सेटअप कराई जाती है इन एंजल प्लेटफॉर्म्स के थ्रू। उस प्लेटफॉर्म पे आप बेसिकली उस पर्टिकुलर डे पे उन सारे इन्वेस्टर्स को पिच करते हैं, और यूजुअली ये प्लेटफॉर्म्स क्या करते हैं, उस कॉल के बाद एक फॉर्म और एक फीडबैक फॉर्म अपने सारे इन्वेस्टर्स के साथ शेयर करते हैं। शेयर करने के बाद उन सारे इन्वेस्टर्स से कमिटमेंट लिया जाता है, और वो कमिटमेंट लेने के बाद एंटरप्रेन्योर को इन्फॉर्म किया जाता है। यूजुअली एक सर्टेन अमाउंट, जैसे आप इन प्लेटफॉर्म पे गए, आपने बोला कि 1 करोड़ रुपए आपको उनसे उठाना है, और इन्वेस्ट क्राउड फंडिंग से आपको कमिटमेंट आया लगभग 90 लाख का। तो होता क्या है, एक व्हीकल होता है जिसको बोलते हैं AIF। AIF एक ऐसा व्हीकल होता है, फाइनेंशियल व्हीकल होता है, जो RBI ने सेटअप करा है, सेबी ने सेटअप करा है, और उसके थ्रू क्राउड फंडिंग बेसिकली इन्वेस्टर्स उसके थ्रू इन्वेस्ट करते हैं आपकी कंपनी में। मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स एक पावर ऑफ अटॉर्नी इशू की जाती है एक सिंगल इंसान या एक एंटिटी के नाम पे, और वो सारी इक्विटी जो है उस एंटिटी के नाम पे अलॉट होती है ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ ऑल दोज इन्वेस्टर्स। Today, these platforms are very important, and it has become very easy to approach them and to raise fund from these investors. अगर आप टॉप 10 लिस्ट ऑफ एंजल प्लेटफॉर्म्स निकालोगे क्राउड फंडिंग की, तो इन्फ्लेक्शन पॉइंट वेंचर्स, चंडीगढ़ एंजल्स, मुंबई एंजल्स, ये इनका नाम सबसे ऊपर आएगा, एंड यू मस्ट कनेक्ट विद देम, and they completely guide you in everything. They even help you in preparing your pitch deck as well, and how you should pitch to the investors as well. So now the Vicky has asked, what are the main difference between equity finance, debt financing, and bootstrapping? So equity financing का मतलब ये होता है कि आपने एक बिजनेस, आपने एक स्टार्टअप को स्टैब्लिश करा, और एक इन्वेस्टर आपकी कंपनी में इन्वेस्ट कर रहा है, और एक सर्टेन अमाउंट इन्वेस्ट करने के बदले में आपकी कंपनी का एक इक्विटी यानी शेयर यानी ओनरशिप वो इन्वेस्टर को ट्रांसफर हो रही है। ठीक है, अब ये जो ट्रांसफर होती है ये भी कई तरीके की होती है। इट इज लाइक CCPS, एडवाइजरी, सो ऑन एंड सो ऑन। होता क्या है कि आपकी कैप टेबल यानी ओनरशिप टेबल पे भी वो इन्वेस्टर आ जाता है जब आप इक्विटी फंड रेज करते हैं। यूजुअली कंपनीज इक्विटी फाइनेंसिंग करती है, स्टार्टअप्स इक्विटी फाइनेंसिंग के ऑप्शंस पे ही जाते हैं। सेकंड ऑप्शन होता है डेट फाइनेंसिंग। डेट फाइनेंसिंग इज एक्चुअली सिमिलर टू लोन दैट यू टेक फ्रॉम द बैंक्स। डेट फाइनेंसिंग में होता यह है कि एक इन्वेस्टर आता है, आपको एक डेट देता है, एक सर्टेन अमाउंट लाइक 50 लाख का आपको डेट दिया, और आपके साथ बैठ के टर्म्स एंड कंडीशन डिसाइड करता है कि कितना परसेंट आप उस पैसे का इंटरेस्ट इन्वेस्टर को वापस करोगे, उस अमाउंट को कितना वापस करोगे। इट इज एब्सोल्युटली सिमिलर टू लोन्स दैट यू गेट फ्रॉम द बैंक्स। डिफरेंस बस बैंक लोन और डेट फाइनेंसिंग में ये होता है कि बैंक लोन से ज्यादा आसान होता है फंड रेज करना डेट फाइनेंसिंग में, क्योंकि बहुत सारी ड्यू डिलिजेंस और डिलिजेंस जो होता है वो इन्वेस्टर्स डेट फाइनेंसिंग में उस लेवल पे नहीं करता जिस लेवल पे बैंक्स करते हैं। और थर्ड चीज होती है बूट स्ट्रैपिंग। बूट स्ट्रैपिंग अगर आप अपने बिजनेस को कर पा रहे हो तो उससे अच्छी कोई बात ही नहीं है। आई वुड नेवर सजेस्ट entrepreneur to raise funds, be it equity funding or debt financing, अगर वो बूटस्ट्रैप अपने स्टार्टअप को कर सकते हैं। रीजन भी, बूटस्ट्रैप का मतलब होता है कि आपने कोई फंड रेज नहीं करा है, आपके पास जो रिसोर्सेज हैं और जो प्रोडक्ट आपने बनाया है आप ऑर्गेनिकली उनको बेच रहे हो, और ऑर्गेनिकली उसको कंपनी को ग्रो करा रहे हो। इसका मतलब ये हुआ द कंप्लीट ओनरशिप ऑफ द स्टार्टअप एंड द कंपनी इज विद द फाउंडर्स, नॉट विद द इन्वेस्टर्स। बूटस्ट्रैपिंग करने से एक बहुत बड़ा फायदा ये होता है कि आगे चल के द वैल्यूएशन, और जो वैल्यूएशन है वो आपको बेटर मिलती है, क्योंकि आपने बेसिक प्रोडक्ट मार्केट फिट अचीव कर लिया होता है। प्रोडक्ट की एक्सेप्टेबिलिटी इन दी मार्केट आपके आ चुकी होती है और आपके पास ट्रैक्शन, अर्ली ट्रैक्शन और थोड़ा मेच्योर ट्रैक्शन आ जाता है. I think I have answered most of
Yes,
the
you have
questions.
answered all the questions. So, one more thing, talking about docflicks, what are the challenges you have faced while switching from a traditional way of healthcare to the integrated technological way of healthcare?
Yeah. So the major challenge in any sector or in any product that you're trying to build is reluctance to change. By reluctance to change, I mean first you, if there is a problem, आपने आपने जो सोल्यूशन बनाया है उस पर्टिकुलर सोल्यूशन को कस्टमर्स तक ले जाना और उसको यूज करवाना, ये सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज है. एक हैबिट, टू ब्रेक द हैबिट ऑफ द कस्टमर इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. और ये सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज था. जैसे हमारा मेजर प्रोडक्ट जो आता है दैट इज डिजिटाइजेशन टूल, ईएचआर, जहां पे हम डॉक्टर्स के क्लिनिक एंड प्रैक्टिस को डिजिटाइज करते हैं. सो नाउ मेकिंग द डॉक्टर अंडरस्टैंड द वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन दैट वी आर ब्रिंगिंग इन थ्रू आवर ईएचआर इज एक्चुअली डिफिकल्ट, और ये बैरियर था. धीरे धीरे करके जब प्रोडक्ट एक्सेप्टेबिलिटी आ जाती है, आप इसको ओवरकम कर देते हैं. सेकंड मेजर चैलेंज जो हमने फेस करा दैट इज रिगार्डिंग द फंड्स, बिकॉज वी आर अ टेक कंपनी. A lot of funds actually go into the development of funds, the salaries and so on and so on. For that, the raising the fund was the second biggest challenge that we faced. Today, आज हम लोग कह सकते हैं कि हाँ, हमें फंड रेज किस तरीके से करना चाहिए आज हम थोड़ा समझने लगे.
True, sir. As we wrap up our today's webinar on funding options for early stage startup, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to our guest, Mr. Varun Garg, for his valuable insight and all our participants for joining us. We have covered a range of funding options, and each option comes with its own set of advantages and challenges. And understanding these can significantly impact your startup trajectory. Remember, the key to successful funding is aligning your choice with your startup's unique need and long term goals. Thank you once again, Mr. Garg, and thank you to all our attendees. We look forward to seeing you at our future events. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Dipanshi. All the very best, guys. I wish you all the very best in all your endeavors and fundraise. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.